Hey guys, what's up? So we've got the now revealed effect for what is an attack name of the winged dragon of Ra. This is called God Blaze Cannon, or as it's being referred to as Blaze Cannon. This was used by this is basically the attack of the winged dragon of Ra. This is a quick play spell card, and it says choose one the winged dragon of Ra you control, and it gains these effects until the end of this turn. This card's activation and effect cannot be negated. 1. It's unaffected by your opponent's card effects. The second effect, when an attack is declared involving this card, you contribute any number of other monsters that did not declare an attack this turn. This card gains attack equal to the contributed monsters' combined original attack until the end of this turn. And after damage calculation, if this card attacked, you can send all monsters your opponent controls to the graveyard. I like the design of this card. It being a quick play means that if your opponent means that it can be activated during either turn. I think this is spell speed 4 card means it can't be responded to. It's a bit like super polymerization, and to have that kind of effect for a god card seems only right. Being completely unaffected by your opponent's card effects is quite decent. That means they can't do any targeting, they can't do any sort of removal with things such as traps such as Drowning Mirror Force or Storming Mirror Force. This means that you can basically have your Winged Dragon of Ra being protected for the entire turn, given how much attack they can get to. You can easily OTK with this card. I know you've got Mound of the Bound Creator as well as a field spell, which supports this kind of protection. But then again, that card can be kind of dealt with. It can be MST'd or negated or just completely destroyed. Whereas once this is activated, your opponent can't do anything. The second effect is quite useful in one respect. If your opponent survives your attacks and goes and tries and targets your Winged Dragon of Ra, assuming it's their turn and they've attacked into Ra, you can use any of your other monsters as tribute fodder to boost your Ra's attack to a point where they not only is their monster destroyed, they will take maybe enough battle damage to lose the game. It's very similar to how Ra is meant to be played anyway. The whole thing about tributing monsters and sacrificing life points to fully boost Ra up. And the final effect, to be able to send all monsters your opponent controls to the graveyard, is also a decent effect. If your opponent has a large board established and they've used a lot of their resources, there are monsters that have effects that prevent their own destruction. Even smaller monsters now is quite commonplace. So being able to send those monsters to the graveyard means that they don't have any sort of protection. Although saying that, those cards that do, there are cards also designed that activate in the graveyard even by being sent. So there are still outs to this, or ways of still getting some kind of advantage. But I would say in the main part that they're a little bit more limited. You also have to consider that a number of monsters have battle protection. So if you're attacking with your Winged Dragon of Ra, which is essentially what this card helps you to do, this is kind of like being a final effect, means you're able to clear your opponent's board even if they have a complete field of non-destroyed by battle monsters. It also says here that you should note that this card is a Blaze Accelerator card due to Blaze Cannon being that archetype's OCG name. This means it should be able to be searched by the volcanics. Therefore, you might get some sort of hybrids between volcanics and Winged Dragon of Ra. I don't see that as a problem. It's a little bizarre because most of the volcanics are you've got two extremes. You've got kind of high level, high attack monsters, and you've also got quite a few smaller monsters in the archetype. Scatter shots, volcanic shell as well. There's a couple of others that are quite weak. There are a few kind of mid-level monsters. I think Slicer has 1,800 and Rocket has 1,900. But you're going to have quite a stretch in order to make that deck useful. The other issue with that is the whole idea that you're going to have to run Tri Blaze Accelerator and Blaze Accelerator, which could also clog up the deck. I know you have the Trap version, which just acts as Tri Blaze Accelerator as well, which was a card which was released quite a bit after the initial support. What do you think of this card? Personally, for me, I would say, having reviewed this is better than the new Jinzo card because it's just complete effect negation to prevent your opponent from doing anything, whereas there are limitations with the Jinzo card. I can see this being played as a 2 of. I don't think people will play 3 of it, but I think it's very decent for their kind of what is supposed to be their final card. Leave your comments down below, like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe.